worth going down. So, what is there on Pluto? No minerals. Well, one mineral, that's purple. That is actually very good. And there's also an energy signature there, so we want to investigate what that is, but first we'll go and pick up this exotic mineral, because that is the most valuable thing we've found so far. And now, here is our energy signature, this thing, which has killed a lot of our crew. Mayday from surface. We have come under fire from an alien vessel we found hiding on the surface of Pluto. Captain, they killed Kowalski, Fritz, Chin, O'Donnell, Luigi and all three of the Lieberman triplets. We have returned fire, but our stunner cannot penetrate the ship's hull armour. We are initiating emergency launch procedures.
Attention, a big, mean, hostile alien vessel hovering overhead in an obvious attack posture. This is Spathi, Captain Fwiffo. I know you are going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now. The coordinates of my homeworld, Spathi are 241.6 by 368.7, and the ultra-secret Spathi cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other Spathi, is Happy Muffy Duffy. Sorry about that little mistake with your landing vehicle. I was so startled when it approached my vessel in a threatening manner that my automated defense systems fired on it when it got too close. I hope nobody got hurt.
So, this is a Spathi. These are technically enemies. They are within the hierarchy of battle thralls. But as we can see here, they're also immense cowards. So, hi there, friend. We come in peace and mean you no harm.
Are you sure? Because your statement is often just a more polite way of saying, attention alien vessel, identify yourself or be destroyed. In any event, I am Spathi Captain Fwiffo of the void ship Star Runner, placed here in this planetary system as part of the powerful Earth-powered Star Force, which our master, the Ur-Quan, established here to make sure the Earthlings don't do anything tricky.
So what are you doing here on Pluto?
About 20 years ago, this region of space was dominated by a loose confederation known as the Alliance of Free Stars, which was composed of the aliens native to these parts who did not want to be enslaved. They made a valiant effort against the superior Ur-Quan forces. It even looked like they might miraculously defeat the combined Ur-Quan armada, right up to the point at which the Ur-Quan totally defeated, indeed annihilated them.
So, what are you doing here on Pluto?
When the Ur-Quan armada entered the system to subjugate formerly the Earthlings, the Ur-Quan presented the humans with the standard slave options. Join the hierarchy as combat thralls and retain some autonomy, including the right to travel through space, or become a fellow species and return to free atomic savagery on the surface of their homeworld, encased for all time beneath an impenetrable force shield. The humans chose the latter option, and so were swiftly imprisoned on the surface of Earth. But the Ur-Quan didn't trust them to obey the restrictions, so they chose a small group of hierarchy combat starships from the Ur-Wraith and Spathi fleets to create the so-called Earth Guard and station them at a base on Earth's moon.
Tell me what you are doing on Pluto now!
Originally, we were stationed on Earth's moon, which made us Spathi a bit uneasy because with each passing day we grew more and more worried about the sneaky Earthlings making a surprise attack. But the Ur-Wraith kept telling us that it was impossible since the Earthlings had no ships or weapons whatsoever. That made us feel a bit better, but when the Ur-Wraith left, again we grew fearful and decided to make a strategic redeployment to Mars. Later on we decided it would be prudent to relocate to Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, then later Saturn's moon, Titan, and finally here to Pluto.
What happens to the Ilrath stationed in this system?
The Ilrath contingent were supposed to be the toughest ridge crest, the most rigid flipper, yes, the backbone of the Earth Guard force. But they departed the system en masse not long after the last Ur-Quan dreadnought vanished from this region of space. They claimed to have received a direct order from their gods of evil and darkness, who had grown dissatisfied with the Ilrath's passivity and wanted them to kill, or at least torture someone soon. Personally, I believe they just got bored and went off to have some fun.
So when do you expect the Ilrath to return?
Well, when they were pushing up into hyperspace 18 years ago, we asked them that very question, and I think they said something to the effect of, "Real soon."
What is happening at the base on Luna then?
We decided that if the Earthlings figured out we had abandoned the base on Luna, they would be more likely to try something sneaky. So, we rigged up some old service androids and ordered them to drive around on the lunar surface in bulldozers, endlessly pushing around the same piles of dirt. In addition, we connected the base's local radio transmitter to an audio malnorme fun rum called Winky's Happy Night, hoping they would think we were still there.
So basically the Mayday signal that we thought was coming from the moon base that the Earth Starbase has been listening to all these years was in fact an endlessly repeated porn film. So, what happens to the other Spathi ships?
Over the past years, it became necessary to redeploy strategically some of our Earth-Guard forces to our homeworld in case of a sudden surprise attack by a vicious, unrelenting alien race which we Spathi call the Ultimate Evil!
Who or what is this ultimate evil?
As yet, the ultimate evil remains largely unmanifest, and its powers and exact intentions are still a bit obscure, since it lurks just outside the range of even the most sensitive long-range detectors, which we feel gives conclusive evidence as to the ultimate evil's nefarious intent.
So, how many crew do you have aboard?
Dozens, that is to say scores and perhaps even hundreds of my brethren stride through the corridors of this specially modified, super-efficient, mass destruction-oriented starship, which could lay siege to an entire planetary system should we choose to do so, which, fortunately for you, we have decided not to do today.
Hundreds? Come on!
I am undone! You are far too clever for a poor Spathi like me, and now I must submit to your superior alien intellect. I guess I am not revealing any truly important secrets if I tell you that each of my species' Lunar-class void ships typically holds 30 Spathi crewmen, though at present my vessel, the Starrunner, is not up to full complement due to the needs of my homeworld in their resistance against the ultimate evil. And in fact, my vessel is somewhat understaffed right now, seeing as how I am the only Spathi on board, which is a bit frightening, as I am sure you can understand.
The galaxy teems with threatening monsters. Are you happy here alone and vulnerable?
How true, Captain, how true! In truth, just between us, during the past 7 years, I have been quite ill at ease, yet now I find myself enjoying your company. This witty dialogue, and the presence of your huge, powerful, death-dealing starship, which, being my friend, you would certainly feel compelled to use in order to save me from any hostile life forms who threatened me with death.
So why are you still here, Captain Fwiffo?
Since it was our most powerful and unforgiving masters, the Ur-Quan, who stationed us here, We knew it would be grossly stupid to disobey them completely, but we decided it would be okay to send just one ship home. We used one of our most ancient and solemn rituals, Ur-Quan, to pick the lucky ship. Then, some months later, we decided that it wouldn't really hurt if we sent one more ship home. And then later we sent another, and then another. Well, you get the idea. Alas, as fate would have it, when the final ritual was performed, I, Fwiffo, was left here alone. For as even the most immature in wrestling knows, there must always be one Spathi who picks the short top runs.
Where are the Ur-Quan now?
Our masters don't really keep us very well informed about their goings-on, so that all we know is that immediately after the subjugation of the last Alliance race, the Hut, I think, the Ur-Quan gathered their dreadnoughts and departed for the edge of the galaxy, commanding us to obey the slave laws or face their wrath when they returned.
So do you know anything about other alien races?
We only know bits and pieces of what happened to each race. For instance, when defeated, the Yahat joined the hierarchy as combat roles, while the Cyrene chose to be slave-shielded on a planet in the Bug Squirt star system. No, that's not right. I forget its name. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the Spathi. They were utterly wiped out in a gigantic blaze of glory.
So, I mentioned Bug Squirt as the Cyrene. If we think about that some more, then if we can think of a fairly famous star that's name could be mistranslated as Bug Squirt, you might work out that the Cyrene are probably on Beetlejuice. But what the question we want to ask is the blaze of glory. What do they mean by that, and what happens to the Spathi?
The Spathi were half ethereal, as you know, having been uplifted by the Yahat just a few decades before the start of the war. Given their habit of detonating those suicidal so-called glory devices in combat, it came as no particular surprise to me when, upon the arrival of the Ur-Quan primary task force at their homeworld, the Spathi caused their sun to explode in a colossal supernova, destroying the entire planetary system, and not incidentally dozens of Ur-Quan dreadnoughts.
And what about yourself, Fwiffo?
Me? You mean me, personally? How nice of you to ask! I was born a poor green incrusting, the youngest child of a family of 18,487. My male parents had to work hard to support us, very hard, but each of my brothers and sisters and I tried to help out to make ends meet. The female parent was kind and sweet to all of us. Why, she once even called me by name! She said, "Fwiffo, darling, would you please answer the door? I want someone's love!" What a treat, a golden memory. I swiftly matured into a fine example of my species with my parents' assistance. Achieved independence. Specifically, they pried me from the door jamb and rolled me into the street. Thus prepared, I set out to make my fortune. I had great dreams in those days. Yes, great dreams! I knew that someday I would be vastly rich, wealthy enough to afford a large, well-fortified mansion. Surrounding my mansion would be vast tracts of land, through which I could slide at any time I wished. Of course, one can never be too sure that there aren't monsters hiding just behind the next bush, so I would plant trees to climb at regular, easy-to-reach intervals. And being a Spathi of the world, I would know that some monsters climb trees, though often not well, so I would have my servants place in each tree a basket of perfect stones. Not too heavy, not too light, just the right size for throwing at monsters. I was thinking about what color the stones would be painted. Aqua, mauve, or magenta, when a vegetable cart came careening down the street outside my house, and knocked me unconscious. When I awoke, I was aboard the void ship Star Runner, headed for Earth. Apparently, I had been out of my head for quite some time after the accident, and with the assistance of some kind strangers, had been relieved of my funds and convinced to join the Navy, where I have been unpleasantly employed for the last 25 years.
So, I'm sure you would feel a lot safer if you were with us. Come on, Fwiffo, join our fleet.
Happy days and jubilation! I discard all prejudice and hesitations and accept and celebrate your offer of protection and your undying commitment to my well-being. I must wax melancholy for just a moment though, and make sure you understand that any other Spathi ships we meet at large in the galaxy are not going to be quite so responsive to your friendly gestures as myself, since they bear more heavily the yoke of Ur-Quan enslavement and are also apt to talk themselves out of allying with a totally unknown alien, which I, having been left here alone, cannot do. Welcome me aboard, Captain.
So now Fwiffo has joined us. We can see his ship in the right there with the other escort ships. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to return to Earth, drop off the minerals that I have picked up from the solar system, recrew my ship after the deaths of the people at Fwiffo's hands and also while exploring some of the planets, and bring Fwiffo's ship up to full strength. So this will be the end of this part of the game, so I will say goodbye to you, and I will see you next time.